Good afternoon, class Y50. Welcome to our live Google Meet. Today we will be continuing our chapter on ancient civilizations, and we will be talking about ancient Mesopotamia and the wheel. Ancient Mesopotamia being an ancient civilization, we will talk and learn and read about how the wheel was invented and how it helped their culture and their way of life. Okay, so here we have our cover page. Everybody, let's point to our cover page. You see a nice picture of the original wheel here, and it also shows you where Mesopotamia can be found on a map. All right, everybody, let's point to the picture of the wheel. Okay, this is going to be a very important part of our story and vocabulary word. Okay, we're going to see this quite a few times in this chapter. Okay, so we follow Miss B and her class. They are at the Natural History Museum. Okay, at the Natural History Museum, they are learning about ancient communities. Okay, today we are learning about ancient Mesopotamia. Ancient communities are communities from a very long time ago. An archaeologist is their guide. Okay, so on page 2, here is our archaeologist. Everybody point to the archaeologist. Good. The archaeologist works for the Natural History Museum and will be guiding our tour today. Okay. Archaeologists learn about ancient communities. They dig to look for old things. They find tools and items people used a very long time ago. Okay, so here on page number 3, we see our archaeologist again, and we see him getting to work. We see him using some tools. I see one that looks like a brush. Another looks like a small shovel. And he was doing some digging and found some old things. A fancy word for old things is an artifact. Okay, so an artifact is something that people like our archaeologists here will find that will give them some information about that ancient community that he is studying. So very, very important piece of information here, okay? So you see we have the tools that he used to dig up old things. Okay, archaeologists find items to learn about culture. Tools, clothes, and art can tell us about culture. Dr. Jones, our archaeologist, shows the class a wheel. Okay, so here on page 4, we have a couple of nice photos. In the middle is the picture of your wheel. Everybody, let's point to the wheel. Good. And we are going to learn how the wheel helped ancient Mesopotamians in pottery. Okay, so you see we have a nice picture of a nice vase here. Looks like a clay vase. And again, that nice picture of the wheel. Okay. The wheel is from a very long time ago. It is made of clay. The wheel was made in ancient Mesopotamia. The wheel can tell us about life in ancient Mesopotamia. Okay, so we're going to learn about how the finding of the wheel changed life in ancient Mesopotamia and helped them live a much better and a much healthier life. People first used the wheel to make pottery. The wheel spins to make a clay bowl. We learn that they use bowls. Okay, so here we have a nice big picture again of our archaeologist using a pottery machine, and you'll see how as the wheel spins, you are able to make bowls out of clay. Okay, so the wheel was very, very helpful in this regard. Later on, people used the wheel on carts. It helped people farm. It helped people trade crops. Okay, so we see in this nice picture here, we have a cart, and inside that cart are crops. And here's our wheel again, making it very easy to transport and trade these crops. Okay, so it helped our farmers farm, and it helped farmers grow their crops. We learned that people here in ancient Mesopotamia farmed and traded. Okay, and the finding of the wheel made all of that much, much easier for them. The people put the wheel on a chariot. Okay, so here in this nice big picture is our chariot. Everybody, let's point to the chariot. Good. A chariot is a small cart pulled by a horse. The chariot carried people. The chariot carried things. people and things could move faster, the wheel was a very, very good thing. Okay, so you see how the evolution of the wheel made life much better in ancient Mesopotamia. Okay, the farmers were able to move their crops with the wheel, and then once the wheel was put on a chariot that was pulled by horses, then much bigger things can be transported, like people, like more crops. A lot of things were able to be transported and traded to better life in ancient Mesopotamia. Okay. Today, we use the wheels on cars and trucks. And here we have a nice big picture of some modern day vehicles, a nice car, a nice truck. We all see the wheels on our school bus, and we see wheels on bicycles, and this looks like a wheelchair. Today we use wheels on cars and trucks. They move us places. Okay, so they help us with moving place to place, moving goods. So the wheel is still very important to this day. So we see wheels on bikes, we see wheels on strollers, cars, trucks, wheelbarrows. Okay, so they help us move, and they help us move places. There's a lot to learn from a very old wheel. Okay, so we see how the wheel started in ancient Mesopotamia and changed their life and that ancient civilization for the better. And we see how the wheel is still used today, still helping society, move through trade and wheels on bike, strollers, and a wheelchair. And our school bus too. A school bus is probably where we see wheels the most. And I know that in our school, there is a lot of wheelchairs also. So it's still a very, very good example in this story, how the wheel is still helping us today. All right? Thank you, guys.